Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is Kidlot44. Today's topic is going to be about gyroscope aiming and why I really can't get used to it, unfortunately. So, gyroscope aiming is more prevalent in today's games, when talking about the Nintendo Switch, of course. It seems like a lot of games now are making it a priority to put gyroscope aiming in their games. A couple of examples: Wolfenstein Youngblood, Doom Eternal is going to have gyroscope aiming. Uh, Splatoon has gyroscope aiming as well. Apex Legends coming out, the developers said they're going to have gyroscope aiming, and so on and so forth. Warface, I believe, has gyroscope aiming. So I think there might be cases where gyroscope aiming is actually more common than not. So let's talk a little bit about gyroscope aiming. So basically, it's, I guess, a little bit better. It's a little bit better idea of the Wii remote. Back then you had a Wii remote and a sensor bar, and the sensor bar could track your pointer aim, which was pretty cool at the time, I guess. It was a gimmick, I guess, and a lot of people enjoyed the gimmick back in the day around 2006 or whatever. Nowadays, there is no sensor bar. You now have a gyroscope in the controller, and you can move it around, twist it around, like axis. So what do you call this? Pitch, yaw, and shift in 3D, and the game can perceive that motion and actually show that motion on screen. So that's all great, right? And the whole point of this is to have more control over traditional, let's say you're playing a first person shooter, over traditional controls like you're using a thumbstick on a traditional controller. You have much better fine tuned aiming than you do with a traditional controller. You get those really nice, precise shots off, like snipers and stuff like that, and tap fire shots. So that's good. My problem with it, though, is the fact that it can be sensitive at times where, I'm playing these games like I would play with the Wii remote, right? When I'm trying it out, I put it on my lap, and that's where I try to keep it stable. But it's just really jittery, to be honest with you. It's very like, I don't know, it induces like seasickness or something. I don't know how to describe it fully, but you see your little cursor on screen like jiggling and jiggling. The cursor keeps jiggling, 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 and it's really annoying. Uh, as opposed to, if I just want to aim straight and not change my aim on a thumbstick, I just don't touch the thumbstick. I don't displace it any amount, and I'm just gonna continue to look forward. Like if I just want to sprint down a really long, narrow hallway, I'm just gonna sprint and keep my aim center. With the with the Joy Cons and with the gyroscope, it's like whoa, bobblehead effect on it. So that's the one bad thing about it. The other bad thing about it is that there is no like absolute reference to a center, meaning that it can kind of like over time like lose the calibration, and it kind of drifts off, and so the new center sort of drifts off. So if you think you're moving back to center, it's actually changed now. And so I'm just going to call it drift, right? So this like gyroscope drift is also annoying because, the center position is always changing, as opposed to a thumbstick, the center position is always fixed, right? So that's another problem of mine, and really the two problems. Otherwise, besides that, it's pretty good. Now, on top of that, what games are doing is they're giving the players like general looking around, like the general, not precise aiming, but just generally looking around in maps and stuff. They're giving the option on the right Joy-Con to basically move around. So you still have, you still retain that looking around with the thumbstick, but what they're requiring you to do is fine tune your aim. After you've, let's say 90 degrees to you, there's an enemy. These developers want you to displace the thumbstick to look 90 degrees to the right, and then use that really fine tune aiming to really dial in your shot, and then shoot the guy, try to get a headshot or something. That's what this combination hybrid that they're trying to put now, which is like, use the thumbstick and then fine tune aim with the gyroscope. I've tried that as well, and it's a little bit weird because, how do I say this? Like, it's really hard to like, and weird to move your arms, like, I don't know, left and right. sometimes I wish that maybe rolling your hand left or rolling your hand right could also, and I haven't seen games do this yet. They might have tried this on the Steam controller, but I wish it's just okay. I can't really describe it. It's weird. Hopefully, what I'm trying to say is maybe to try something is to like lift, roll your hand to the left to aim to the left a little bit, roll your hand to the right to aim to the right a little bit. I think that's a little bit easier to do and it feels a little bit more comfortable. If you want to aim up and down, I'm fine with actually moving the Joy-Con up and down, but left and right, it's kind of like it doesn't feel that good. So I know I didn't describe it well, but go research it and you'll find better information. So basically, I've also tried that. Doesn't feel good. But I'm still hopeful because I play mouse and keyboard with my PC, right? And I love mouse and keyboard. It's obviously the best control scheme for a PC, first person shooter gaming. To try to get a little bit better though, which is I think a good thing to try, a little bit better than thumbstick aiming with a controller, and to an extent too, like let's try to make it like more skill based, I guess, where aim assist really kind of makes or breaks a lot of the controller aiming. I will agree with that. Lately though, I've been playing a lot of games, albeit though on single player with controllers on my PC, and I've turned off aim assist and I've gone a little bit better trying to play games with the controller and fine tune aiming without aim assist. It also kind of a separate topic, but it also depends on if the developer wants to put like really advanced controls to make fine tune aiming with the thumbstick really good. That's also another thing that they can do. And I think even Warface, a game on the Switch, does this really well. But anyway, that's besides the point. Here's my idea. I think I'm looking towards VR. I've played VR like twice in the past. I don't really play too much VR. I've played it like twice or three times in the past. And I feel like those controllers are pretty accurate in the space that you're playing with. They're really good. They're very, I had no problem with playing with that, right? It was very responsive. So the way that they kind of do that though is they put like nodes around the play space so that they can constantly track the exact positioning, pitch, yaw, shift, orientation of the controller, so that it's no problem. Obviously, right? I think that the same thing should happen with like Switch, and it really shouldn't be that expensive. Maybe 2 or 3, maybe for triangulation, or I think I said that right. 3 nodes would be enough, and I could place a node behind me. It's fine as long as I don't have to stand 10 feet away. That's another bad thing about the Wii remote is having to stand 10 feet away, and then because everyone, I'm close to my desk. I'm not always playing in a living room situation. I think a lot of content creators, you see their desks, right? Like they're not going to want to sit 10 feet away to play their games. So that was really like a detriment of the Wii remote. I also forgot to mention that. But besides that, I know I go off on a lot of tangents. Besides that, like I said, if you just follow the VR model, have like 3 nodes around you so that the exact orientation of the controller will never ever mess up, then you can have really good either Wii remote aiming. You can just emulate Wii remote aiming again, which would be pretty awesome, and it'll be even better because you can do it in a smaller space. Or you'll have less of that jitter that I was talking about, less bobblehead movements all the time, and you wouldn't have any more drift, and that would be great, right? There's no reason to have drift if you constantly know the exact center position all the time. So if you have that, I think gyroscope aiming would be awesome. I would be willing to try it out. And I would be willing to see if Nintendo or a third party, and I'm just talking about this really niche first person shooters. I know I like first person shooters. That's why I wish there was more on the Switch. But the reality is the console is not that strong, so not a lot of developers would want to make an FPS on Switch anyway. But again, sorry, another tangent. If a third party, like basically, let's say just take an Xbox controller, slice it in half, made it like really light, and so you have the ergonomics of a real controller, but it's split apart. But on the right hand side, it's all the gyroscopic aiming, and then also in addition to that, have the 3 nodes that I'm talking about. I would really want to try that because I just like imagining it right now. I'm playing with my hands in front of me, like I could just like flick around and start shooting people really nicely, and it would be pretty awesome. So, yeah, that's my haphazard idea of trying to make gyroscope aiming better. It's pretty good. It's a little janky. It's not good enough for me to really like mainly use that control style. I'll still stick with, dual analog, but we'll see. I think it really takes innovative people. Like for example, PS5, that's really an innovative controller, and kudos to the PlayStation guys for making like the haptic feedback and stuff really awesome. I think Nintendo can do the same thing and really focus on gyroscope aiming, and I think or Steam or somebody can do it, and it'll be really awesome in the future for first person shooters. So, see you guys in the next one. Peace.